The Activated Man is an award-winning supernatural thriller starring the late Tony Todd in his final lead role. The film follows Ors Gabriel, who, after losing his beloved dog Louie to cancer, begins seeing terrifying visions of a menacing entity known as the Fedora Man. Has Ors' mind fractured, or is this all actually real? The Activated Man also features an ensemble supporting cast, including horror icon Kane Hodder, Sean Young of Blade Runner, Andrew Keegan of 10 Things I Hate About You, Sab Shimono of The Shadow, and Vladimir Kulich of The 13th Warrior. The Activated Man opens in select theaters on December 13th. It also comes to digital and on demand the same day. Learn more and follow the film at The Activated Man Movie on Facebook and Instagram.
And welcome back to Little Cuts, our weekly mini-sode, somewhat weekly anymore, it seems like, where we dig into the things that we've been watching and playing recently. I'm Terry.
And I'm Mary Beth, and this week we're talking about a surprising sequel, FYC/award season catch-up, Pussy Island, physically difficult to watch semi-movie, parentheses, question mark, end parentheses, very excited to understand what that is. MB's new queen, Lily Rose Depp, and the most existential dread game ever. Yeah, we're kind of like all over the place. Yeah. Because we haven't been here doing Little Cuts. It's been a time.
2024 has been trying to kill me, like physically, between like a week-long migraine/tension headache and then an ice storm, which I stupidly went out in and fell multiple times down my hill. I'm okay. My car is okay. At one point my car was doing pirouettes down the hill, but we're okay now and I'm recovering. There's a whole longer story about that, but
I was telling Terry before recording that he sent me a voice note right after it happened, and I was reading the transcript because I was in an Uber with Steve, and Steve looked over and was like, "What happened?" I was like, Terry just went through like 400 terrible things in like probably 1 minute. Like it felt like everything that happened was like very rapid succession, but everyone is okay. And that's all that matters. But Jesus Christ, ice storms are no joke, everybody.
No.
Black ice is no fucking joke.
Yeah. Don't go out to get Taco Bell when there is ice on the ground. That's the moral of this story.
Goddamn Taco Bell. Just the siren's call of Taco Bell.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's talk about movies and such.
Let's fucking talk about movies. Please, I beg.
Yes. All right, a surprising sequel.
Okay, so I, as everyone else is who does any kind of like horror journalism, whatever, we're all playing catch up or all the things we didn't see this year. And I watched like 200 horror movies this year, which is fucking crazy. And then also I feel like not a lot of movies, but I say horror movies because I feel like I've seen like 250, 260, but am I full of shit? 250, and most of them have been horror. And finally playing catch up for the few I missed. And while I was in New York for the New York City Horror Film Festival a couple weekends ago, I watched Smile 2 and was extremely surprised with how much I liked it, because I don't know if I went into this on the podcast, but like I did not like Smile 1. Smile 1 was like kind of insulting to me in terms of like how it was handling mental health. And I know some people liked it and were like, "Oh yeah, nihilism," but I was like, I don't know, as someone who like struggles with suicidal ideation, like this kind of movie feels a little bit irresponsible to like whatever. Anyway, whatever. I get it. It was creepy, and so when Smile 2 was announced, I was like, I just don't think it's gonna be, just not for me. I didn't cover it for the site, because I was like, I'm not excited about this, like, I don't care. But with my producer of Bystanders just coming to VOD on January 21st, I should have said at the beginning,
my bestie is in Variety.
Anyway, but and our star Garrett Murphy, we were all watching it. And they were like, "Let's watch Smile 2." I was like, "All right, fine, I'll do it this year." And we were smoking weed and watching it, and oh my god, it is quite good.
It's fun.
It's fun. The pop star, I've been listening to big pop star Sky Riley is at the center of this one, played by Naomi Scott, who is an absolute impeccable performance. Like, it is so good. Her screams in that movie like actually made me like almost cry and like feel nauseous because of how visceral they are. And it's essentially
great performance.
And the songs, I've been listening to Sky Riley on Spotify like nonstop. But it's
what trap wanted to be.
Yeah, like I will. As someone who liked trap, I agree with you. You know what I mean? Like I would not disagree with that, even though I loved trap. Trap is its own thing to me, but regardless, it's like they're making it almost like like Parker Finn's almost like it's like an anthology movie almost. Like there's a little bit of a connection at the beginning, but like there's not any kind of like tangible passing on of the thing to Sky Riley in a way that connects to the first movie, other than it's the same thing. Which I like. I mean, I like that. I like how I think that I really am admiring about Smile 2 is how he was able to kind of, I think, because this one now becomes about addiction. And like, again, it's a muddy kind of message. I will give it that. But I think it also takes it a little bit more seriously, I would say, in terms of like the addiction metaphor going on here. And I love it because the lore makes no sense and that makes it such a cosmic thing to me. But you know what I mean? Like, no one, like, Finn never tries to explain it, really. And I love that, though. There, like, isn't really an explanation. It really is truly, like, a cosmic horror in a way that he really hits it home in this one way better, I think, than the first
agree.
one.
I think thematically it's a lot stronger.
It's good. It's cool to see him grow, though. Like, I really do admire the growth. And, like, yes, I have shit-talked this man on the internet. Not because of him, but because I do not like that he is directing Possession. Give that to a fucking woman. Anyway, that's another discussion. But yeah, I was really shocked with how much I liked it. And again, there's a really disturbing car accident scene, and I won't spoil anything, but the screams that Naomi Scott conjures made me want to I got very upset.
I saw it in the theater, and I had a very visceral reaction to a lot of it. What I do like about it is because, you know, in the first one, it's definitely like a ghost story format where it's like, okay, now we're gonna have the investigation, we're gonna dig into the past, we're gonna figure out kind of where this kind of came from. This one makes no pretense at kind of adding to that mythology a bit, which I liked. My only complaint is I did think it was a little long.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. It's way too long. Like, it's very repetitive, and the scares are really incredible in it, but it does get repetitive of like, is it real? I don't know. Like, there was definitely, and there's this one technique they use in this where, like, they flip the camera upside down like 400 times in that movie to be like, look at this, the visual manifestation of losing your mind. And I was like, all right, we get it. Like, it became a joke when we were all watching it. We were like, all right, take a shot. Like, he flipped the camera over again. It just like was like one of those overused techniques that they like. It seemed like Parker Finn was having a lot of fun. It was just like, all right, guy. I'm so happy for you, but like, woo, bring it down the notch. Anyway. Yeah. That was Smile 2. I was very glad to see it. Again, I love to be proven wrong about movies when they're actually quite good. And you know what? Touche, Parker Finn. Touche. And I respect the shit out of it. And also fucking Naomi Scott singing those songs. They're such good songs. They're really good pop songs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's on Paramount Plus. That's out now on Paramount Plus.
Oh, that's right.
So if you want, that's how I watched it. And now we're gonna dive into some FYC catch up.
So it's been a minute since we recorded, and I have seen, and I think you have seen as well, a whole lot of sort of the FYC screeners that we have to watch. Well, I have to makes it sound like it's a negative thing. We get to watch. So I feel like kind of just going through them a little quickly because there is a lot. I did see We Live in Time. Have you seen this one yet?
Oh, the sexy one with the two people? The Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield?
The sexy one with the two people. That can cover at least two movies on this FYC list that I've seen. Yeah, so it's I did not know going in that it was a story about a woman who has cancer. I thought it was a When Harry Met Sally-esque thing throughout like time. No. It is a very heavy movie, but what I appreciated about it is I have one of my most hated movies is Sweet November because I cried at that movie and I hated that I felt manipulated crying. The old movie with Keanu Reeves and Charlize Theron. Hated that movie, but cried in the movie theater so much because I felt so manipulative. This is the very first movie I've seen about a similar subject that feels genuine and feels grounded, and a lot of that has to do with the performances of Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield. They have so much chemistry together, and the story feels really lived in and real. I really enjoyed this one a whole lot. Cried, bawled my eyes out, but really dug that one.
Yeah. That is like just so not a movie that I'm interested in seeing. Is that terrible?
I don't blame you. If I had known what the movie was about, I would not have watched it.
And like I understand that like it's like nothing against anyone. It's just like such not it's just like not the kind of movie I really enjoy watching at all.
They're so good in it though. I will say
that's like the one reason I just might say like, all right, I'll just like fuck it.
Like I don't think it's gonna win any awards, but I liked it. So like if you're prioritizing things that might end up in like your nomination list, I probably would not prioritize this one. But going into it again, not knowing that it was a drama about fucking cancer, I liked it.
Okay, good to know. Not the rom-com I thought it was.
No. No. Again, thought it was like When Harry Met Sally. It's not. It's so not.
Well, now we know.
I also saw Anora.
Oh, that's the other one I really need to see.
Really good.
Again,
Anora...
guys, I've been really bad about FYC stuff. I'm finishing my book, and I've been just watching Project Runway. So if I haven't seen a lot of things, it's because I haven't been watching anything other than Paranormal Activity for the 5 millionth time, or Tim Gunn being the uncle I've always wanted. Sorry. Anyway.
Project Runway, right? Runway,
yes, Project
right?
Runway.
Yeah.
Ugh, the best.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Nora is starring Mikey Madison from Scream and Scream 5, aka Scream. And she's playing a young sex worker from Brooklyn who meets a Russian kind of prince. Like it's basically kind of like the Cinderella or like a Pretty Woman type story where she meets this kind of Russian prince, has a whirlwind relationship with him and ends up getting married to him, and then realizes the reality of it. And I was not expecting this movie to be basically almost like a road trip movie in the middle. Not a road trip through countries or states, but like a road trip through New York.
Okay.
As they are hunting for her missing husband. And it's really funny. I think this is probably like the most epic Sean Baker movie, because like his movies are usually, they seem to be like one location-esque type situations, or like focusing on like a small cast of characters, and this one feels very big in comparison. Mikey Madison is great in it. I had laughed so hard during this movie. It surprised me with the directions that it was going, and it's an absolute delight. I really liked this one. This one was a standout for me this year.
Yeah, that's what everyone says, and like I don't love Sean Baker like as a person. So
oh really? I don't know much about him as a person.
So I'm trying to like make sure this is correct before like, and this is not like secrets, but I believe that my perception of him is he comes from money and he likes to fetishize the poor in a way. And like I do love the Florida Project. I haven't seen, I think Tangerine and Red Rocket. But he did Tangerine too, didn't he?
I believe so.
Tangerine. Yeah, he shot that on an iPhone.
Yep,
yeah.
Tangerine. Mm-hmm.
And like, I get it's a weird thing because it's like I think he does right a lot of the time by his characters, but like he is a kind of a rich white boy who keeps making movies about poor people in like dire financial situations, and something about that just like doesn't sit right with me. And I know that like this is not me saying anyone else like needs to feel like, this is just me me as a person being like, it's hard. It's it is sometimes hard for me, especially with men, to kind of remove artist and art, and perhaps that makes me a poor critic in some eyes, but that's just my perspective on all that. So
I've only seen 3 of his movies. I've seen The Florida Project, Red Rocket, and now this. And Red Rocket was fun. It was okay. Florida Project, I did enjoy it, but I absolutely agree with what your sentiment with that. I do like that he is sort of like looking at sort of the outcasts of society in terms of like Red Rocket is about an aging porn star who is coming back home, and like Anora is about a sex worker, and I appreciate his eye on this, but yeah, it would be very easy to look at it as fetishization for sure.
Yeah, and again, like, I don't know, that's just me. So, but like, again, I do appreciate the work he creates and like what he does, like with the artistic eye he has. Like, I do think he does interesting things, and I do think he like tries to give his characters depth, but sometimes like the poor porn, like the poor porn is just like sometimes a little bit questionable. Especially if you haven't come from a background like that, you know what I mean? But sorry, I didn't mean to shit on Anora. I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine. We're not gonna like everything together, and that's fine.
Yeah. I still need to see it though. I'm still gonna see it because I love her.
She's great. She's really good in this. I think he casts really interesting people in his movies. I think that's what pulls me to them, is that the characters are just really enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Even when you might not like them.
Yeah, he's really good at creating humanity, I think. An interesting form of humanity, and like a different kind of love that maybe is not typically seen in movies. You know what I mean? Like portrayals of different kinds of love.
I know we both saw Conclave.
Oh, God. Just a bunch of cunty old men in cardinal outfits. The Catholic Church. It's just so gay, man. I was just giggling at their little gay hats. Sorry. As a lapsed Catholic, I love it. It's just so gay.
Yeah.
And they all it's all about them gossiping. Like, okay.
It is.
So Conclave, for everyone who's unfamiliar, is about basically all the cardinals getting together after the Pope dies to, like, elect a new Pope. And, like, if that sounds boring to you, it's actually quite interesting. Like, I will say, it's, like, very interesting. And they keep it very interesting because it literally is, like, men gossiping the movie, but the way that it's edited and shot, and Ralph Fiennes as, like, the lead cardinal is just someone compared him to Bob from Bob's Burgers, and, like, that is exactly what he is. And I don't know. I just think it's a delight to see these, like, bitchy men in dresses. And I know it's their robes, but, like, these little bitchy men in their red dresses and hats and jewelry just, like, fight over who's going to be the queen of all the Catholics. I love it because it makes Catholicism look so goofy.
As I was watching this, I was, like, looking at my roommate Cass, and I was like, I don't know if any of this is accurate or not, but this is the most gayest thing I have seen. Like, it is so, it's you know, you take away maybe like the language maybe of drag queens, and it is a bunch of drag queens getting together, like, but untucked on Drag Race, and just having a kiki and tearing each other down.
It's incredible. They're hiding in little corners and getting drunk and bitching about each other and scheming. They're literally scheming about who's going to win the whole movie. And they fucking reveal information in the cuntiest way possible in terms of making it like it's just incredible. The ending everyone's talking about, it's a weird one. It definitely is a weird one. Partially I love it because fuck the Catholic Church, but I also understand that it's a little bit like, what?
It's impossible to talk about it without obviously spoiling what happens. And I do think, even though I have a lot of reservations about the way the ending is handled, it's still one that I definitely recommend watching as well. It's just that ending, I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah.
Like, with the whole history of cinema, I'm not sure how I feel about the way the ending happens in this. That's all I can say without like spoiling anything.
No, fully agreed. I again, as a lapsed Catholic, I found it, like, from that perspective incredible, but from like another perspective, it's also like I very much align with how you're thinking of like, what was the intention here? Like, was it a good intention, or was it a shock intention? I'll just put it that way.
And that's where I'm like, I'm struggling with, because it feels like a shock ending and not...
It doesn't feel deserved.
It feels like a comeuppance for them, like, this is what you get, instead of being like a more interesting... Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
But I still recommend watching it, for sure. I enjoyed it a lot.
Look at acting.
Yeah.
John Lithgow is a fucking asshole. Hey guys, guess what? People really love to backstab. These fucking cardinals are little bitches. Oh, it's incredible. Anyhow.
Have you seen others? I have two others that I briefly want to talk about. Have you seen any other? What other FYC? I can keep going.
No, because a lot of the ones I like really want to talk about are my other ones to talk about on the episode. Gotcha. And I have just, again, like... Oh, I saw Rebel Ridge.
Oh, how was?
Oh, I have of two minds. I love Jeremy Saulnier.
Yeah, me too.
He did Green Room, Blue Ruin, which is like one of my favorite movies of all time.
He did the Alaskan set one too.
Oh, Hold the Dark.
Hold the Dark?
Like,
Hold the Dark?
Yeah, Hold the Dark. It's a Netflix movie. So, Aaron Pierre is the lead, and he is... but one, he is gorgeous to look at, but two, he is an incredible actor in this movie. Basically, this guy is a black guy is trying to bail out his cousin from prison, and corrupt white cops steal the money, and they don't realize they're fucking with a former Marine. And things just, like, spiral out of control in a way that only Jeremy Saulnier can do. And it's a really incredible portrayal of how absolutely asinine the justice system is, especially in rural town, like smaller southern towns. And it definitely tries to get to the complexity. Like, it's definitely not... there's parts of it where I was like, are we sympathizing with cops here? Like, what are we doing? Like, there was just, like, a couple moments where it was dipping into that territory in a way that I was like, ooh!
Okay.
Ooh, don't do that! But, I mean, like, again, it's very anti-cop. Like, I am not saying that this is by any means a pro-cop movie, but I think at times it does not fully stick to its guns, pun intended, when it comes to ACAB. Regardless, it's insane. Very well acted, very well, like, beautifully shot. And again, Aaron Pierre is incredible. And it's... Anna Sophia Robb is in it. I don't know if anyone remembers her, but she was fucking Bridge to Terabithia, and because of Winn-Dixie, like, she was a child actor when I was growing up, and she's in it as like the white girl inside helping him, and she's also pretty good. So yeah, so I saw that finally, and I definitely recommend it. Again, I think Jeremy Saulnier makes really interesting revenge movies, and this one is a really like explicit, like, hey, this racism shit from cops is very real and very explicit, and it's kind of nice to see like Netflix put out something like that is very directly being like, and like, I know that corrupt cop movies are not new, but like this one is so explicitly like, oh no, they're like racist, terrible cops, and it's nice to see a movie being put out like that in a very conservative era.
Yeah. I need to see that one. I'm very excited to watch it. I also watched.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I also watched Didi, which is directed by Sean Wang, and it's set in 2008, during the last summer month before high school begins, as an impressionable 13-year-old Taiwanese American boy learns what his family can't teach him: how to skate, how to flirt, and how to love your mom. And it is an absolute delight of a film. It is definitely about a bunch of preteen / teen boys, and so they do what teen boys do, but it feels so authentic and so real and so funny. I loved everyone in this movie so much, even the people that I grew to hate by the end of it. It feels like it captures that time of being like a 13-year-old, and you're not quite like a teenager, you're not quite moving into high school, but you're also not quite a young kid. You're starting to like learn things about your body. You're going through all this puberty. And I love this movie because it shows the warts and all. Like, all these kids have acne. All these, like, it feels very not cinema, like not like the kind of movie kind of rendition of childhood that we would see. It kind of reminds me in that way of what, 8th grade a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But it's an absolute delight. It's out on VOD right now, and I highly recommend it. I laughed a lot during this. It moved me. It brought me back to being a kid and remembering the awkwardness of that kind of phase of your life. This one is a little bit more updated because, of course, it's 2008, and he wants to be like a YouTuber. He wants to like film skateboarding. He has a YouTube channel, but it's all about that time frame. It's all about being a kid, and man, it was a delight. It was just a delight.
I need to see it. I think one of the reasons why I didn't see it is because I was like, I was that age around, like I was around that age around that time, and I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm gonna watch it.
There's definitely some nostalgia, like
because it's boys.
AOL.
Like eighth grade fucking wrecked my shit because I was an 8th grade girl, but like this one might be a little bit easier because it's a different gender experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But going to MySpace and checking out like your friends' movie choices and trying to like flirt by being like, oh, this movie is my favorite movie that you've never seen, and just sort of like it's just, I don't know, it really hit the spot for me.
Hell yeah.
And finally, Babygirl. I saw Babygirl.
Is it good? Is it good?
It is good. I
have the screener. I have the screener.
I mean, this is like two of Terry's gay loves coming together. I am a Nicole Kidman gay, and I have been for almost all my life. And I also think Harris Dickinson is an incredibly attractive man, and I would love to hear him call me good girl or baby girl. I would be like, yes, please.
Dick and Son, more like Dick and Terry.
Ah, yes! Oh my god! Sorry. Please. It's a very kinky movie. It's not like,
is it actually kinky? Like, is it actually like leaning into this stuff? I feel like everyone's a prude, so I'm just like, how kinky is it?
I wanted more nudity, particularly male nudity. It surprises me when a movie is centered on the female experience with a man, and it shows more female nudity than male nudity. That is something that's kind of surprised me with this, especially with a female director. I kind of expected, like, we don't see anything of him except his shirt, like his chest area and his abs.
No dong?
No dong, no butts.
Come on, Harris Dickinson. Baby, oh God.
Yeah, so that was my big disappointment, is that I did want it to be a little bit more nudity forward, particularly with Harris. But, like, it's very erotic, and it's very, like... I would say baby steps into like the kink BDSM community, but like there is a point where we have Nicole Kidman licking milk out of a bowl like a dog. Like there is like areas of this that is more erotic, I would say, than like incredibly explicit. But it is.
No, that's what I want, baby. Getting that secretary shit.
Yes. There is like there is it is a very erotic film. It takes some surprising directions that I was not kind of expecting in terms of how it resolves itself. My biggest complaint is I did find Harris Dickinson's character to be pretty one-dimensional. I wanted to know more about him. Because like he's very mercurial and maybe purposefully so, but like it just feels like his character feels a little one note.
Did she do Bodies,
Bodies, bodies, bodies.
I love Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Oh, I love Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
I just don't think she cares about men as much, which is not a bad thing.
No,
but I have to see the movie.
It's good. I really enjoyed it.
Also, there's like, did you see the screen grabs of Nicole Kidman saying, "I read the script and I said immediately, I want to be Babygirl." Like, imagine being Harris Dickinson and being able to like, I know it's just acting, but like, I mean, come on, as a performer, you get to say that like you got to be kinky on set with Nicole Kidman.
With Nicole Kidman, hello, and she is fucking gorgeous.
She is everything forever, and I love her so much, and I would love her to give me a big hug.
Me too. She apparently really does like to go to raves, and I would love to go to a rave with Nicole Kidman. Can you believe that? I would love to.
God, she was so hot at a rave too. Bitch.
Yeah, and there is a rave moment in here, and it is it was one of the most quietly erotic moments for me in this film. Like it's just I don't know. This movie just like oozes sex in a way that's not as I really wish it was a little bit more explicit, but it is erotic. Absolutely.
Good. 10 out of 10. Love that. You know what? We have hope. I have hope for the future that movies like this are coming out and it's not all purity bullshit, because
Yep. My Letterboxd review is bring back sex in movies, queen.
Neat. And it's directed by a woman, and that is just great to me. Love that. Forever.
That's my FYC catch up. Did you have any more?
Nope, I'm just behind. Forever.
All right, going from erotic, I hate to call it a thriller. It has some thrilling moments, but to Pussy Island, I gotta hear, what is Pussy Island? What is this?
Pussy Island was the alternative title to Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut, Blink Twice. Okay,
you saw it. All right. What did I was dying to hear what you thought about this movie.
So this is like something I should have watched earlier, but I think I had heard Zoe Kravitz is not like just weird behavior. And so I wasn't totally sure what this would be. And I finally said, fuck it. It is the end of the year. It's like, we're doing catch up. This is one of the movies that I need to see for my Dread Central list specifically. Cause again, I'm into critics groups, but most of my focuses are on the horror stuff. So Blink Twice is kind of in that camp a little bit. And I was actually pretty blown away by it. I was incredibly impressed with how it handles sexual assault. Yeah. I was it's fucked up. It's pretty fucking harrowing, but I also think,
it is.
I think that it would be such a good double feature with Revenge, because both of them play so well with the facade of paradise and bright colors and this kind of again camouflage, this bright colorful drug fueled camouflage. And I think they both have such interesting perspectives about how men not just how men consume bodies, and then also how how women can encourage that consumption in pretty fucked up ways. And I was pretty impressed with it. I was pretty surprised. It's not gonna make, I think, my top 10, but it's in my top 20. Because I had a really hard time with my top 10 this year. I think it's smart. I think Channing Tatum's performance is absolutely incredible in it. He's
great.
And he's scary, like very
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
And I think there's something really interesting about the ending, which I won't spoil, but I love that a black woman directed a movie with a black female lead about sexual assault at the hands of white men. And I think we don't get that with rape revenge movies. I mean, like, I myself am one of the white women making a rape revenge movie. It's always so grounded in the white woman experience.
Yeah.
Without that, like, and while it's not to say that it's not terrible, but there's such an added layer of, or added layers of shit when it is a black woman being, you know, taken advantage of by these guys. And the ending is interesting and weird, but I love it because I also think that, like, it's really cool to see Zoe Kravitz tackling something like this. As I think
the revenge portion of this is great. I love the revenge portion.
I wish they had spent more time with that. I think they spent so much. I think it's a little rushed at the end. Is like my biggest complaint about it. But I think it's incredible, and I think it's a really.
It does take a while
movie.
to get going.
It does.
And I think that makes the ending come so quickly because of how much time it takes to get to that point.
Yes, I would agree with that 100%. But I, you know, as a person who, like, researches, writes about, talks about rape revenge movies, especially directed by women, I was like, fuck, I need to see this. And
yeah, I was like I saw it, and Cass was like, has Mary Beth seen this? And I was like, no. And that's when I texted you. I was like, have you seen it? And you're like, no. And I was like, no, she hasn't. And I was like, but she really needs to, because I'm curious what your thoughts would have been. So,
and I think what's interesting is, again, a lot of the reviews follow across gender lines because people are like, oh, of course the bad guys are the billionaires who bring you to an island. And I was like, fuck off. Like, this is, like, have we ever, like, thought about how maybe women just want to make, like, a very obvious, like, condemnation of the way society treats the female body, and, like, maybe, and, like, people say this about revenge and about The Substance. I'm like, yeah, like, guys make shitty movies that are, like, on the nose all the time. So, like, women can't do that too. Like, we have to, like, veil the metaphor and, like somehow veil the trauma so it's, like, a little bit more enticing for a male gaze. Like, go fuck yourself.
Listen, do I love films with subtext? Absolutely. But are we living in a world right now where subtext is, like, the currency? No. All movies right now are very on the nose. All movies are.
My movie is incredibly on the nose, y'all. It is. There is so much that is just like, no, it's text, bitch. And I want that because sometimes people just, like, don't get it. And we are in an era where I would love people to fucking get it and just, like, listen. Yeah. And, yeah.
And I do think a lot of the minority filmmakers, minority people, what am I trying to say?
Marginalized communities?
Yes. I think for the longest time, marginalized communities have, in movies, it has had to be subtext. Yeah. And so we're at a time now where the people that are typically marginalized, whether it is people of color, whether it is women, whether it is queer people, are making films. And they're like, no, I lived my entire life on subtext. Let me bring text. And I love that.
Yep.
Period.
So I really like
Mic
Blink
drop.
Plays. Mic drop.
Good.
Podcast over.
I'm glad.
But yeah, I very much enjoyed it. I would highly recommend for people to check out if you are okay with movies like that are pretty explicitly and pretty traumatically addressing sexual assault.
It is an uncomfortable watch. I will admit it's uncomfortable.
I'm glad because sometimes I'm a bad judge of that.
It definitely, I did not, I mean, this is not my genre, right? This is not something that I actively go seek out. And so I was very uncomfortable, but purposefully so. I think we should be uncomfortable.
Actually, kind of an interesting transition from being, like, from this movie to a physically difficult to watch semi-movie question mark.
I don't know. I didn't know how to describe it necessarily because, like, I was afraid that would come across as, like, I found the movie physically difficult to watch. No, it's hard to find this fucking movie.
Because, okay. Because I definitely thought it, like, made you sick or some shit like that. Okay.
No, this is a movie that is an NFT. that people can like rent, and it's from the people that have bought the it's such a fucked system, and it makes me angry because this is Kiyoshi Kurosawa's new
Chime?
short film ish. Yeah, Chime, which
Wait,
is
I didn't realize Chime was a fucking NFT.
it was released as an NFT from from roadstead.io, and it is a digital video trading evolution, quote unquote, of NFTs, where a certain number of copies of the movies were made available, people bought them, and then the purchasers can do whatever they want with them, including renting them out to other users at whatever price point they decide on. So you go to this site that is in Japanese and very hard to parse as someone that does not speak or read Japanese to try to find out how to rent it, and the renting would go from some people renting it from a few dollars to up to $100 and some odd dollars. It's fucked. I did not do that, but I have seen the movie. And
wow, who
it
are you,
is
me?
Right. A former guest and friend of the show pointed me to a direction that I could find it. I bought it, but rather dubiously. So I own a physical copy of it, rather dubiously.
What the fuck? What? Okay.
We'll
wow,
talk offline.
you really truly have tapped into me of
Yes.
finding the most obscure shit on the internet. So,
yes.
Congratulations.
But yes, Chime is Kiyoshi Kurosawa's new film, who of course did Pulse, Cure, a bunch of other movies.
Cloud.
And what's that?
Cloud is his recent one that was at Fantastic Fest. I wasn't just saying the word cloud, sorry.
Cloud! Oh, I love it. Have you been able to see Chime? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. Because I did not realize that it was an NFT, so I was just like, oh, it'll come out soon. And I was, okay, well, because I saw Cloud, and I was like, oh, Chime will come out soon, because Cloud is out. What the fuck?
Nope, Chime is out, and you can rent it through the road, what is it? Roadstead. Yeah, you can rent it through there, rather difficultly if you do not speak or read Japanese. But it is a simple movie. It's only 45 minutes, which is why I'm like, is it a movie? I'm not sure what necessarily constitutes a film at this point.
It's like a novella, but for a movie.
And honestly, this feels more like I'm hoping what this is like a concept for a larger film, because this is a very ephemeral movie that does not give any answers, and it's about this chef who teaches, and in the very first opening of the movie, he is teaching a new class of chefs, and one of them is like, he seems really out of it, and he's like, every time the chef tries to try to engage with him, he's like, I'm only here to distract me. And he's like, can you hear that sound? And he hears this chime in his head, and he keeps hearing it. And then at one point he tells the chef that he is that half of his brain has been replaced by a machine. Do you want to see it? And he sticks a knife into his neck and kills himself.
Oh, hell yeah, brother.
And like in a typical J-horror kind of ghosty story, that it seems to have now passed on to the teacher, who is
Smile
for the rest of the runtime. Right, for the rest of the runtime, basically going insane. And this is what I love about this movie, is that because it's only 45 minutes long, it is I found it very dread-inducing from the opening shots to the very end. And I think because it is only 45 minutes, it works really well. And I do wonder if you add more story, because I feel like there's a lot more story you could do with this, and that you could take it into more epic directions. There's some moments in here where I was like, this is the start of like an epic Contagion type movie with where it goes.
Ooh, like a Pontypool type thing.
Yes, but it doesn't quite get there. And I'm of two thoughts, because I'm like, this is a perfectly paced 45 minutes that just not a whole lot happens, but it kind of remixes some of the beats of like a traditional J-horror film from like the early aughts, but it gives you so much dread the entire time that you want someone to kill someone because you want someone to break that tension.
That's him though. Like that is his movies. Like he really is that guy who makes the movies that you're like, can someone just like violently be murdered, please?
Right?
And it's like, what's wrong with me? But
because there are a couple really shocking. I was shocked at some of the moments in this. Like it just goes, but then after some of those moments, you want more because that dread just keeps sitting there, and you're just like, this feels uncanny valley. This feels very just an insane watch. Like the things that are happening, you feel like should not be happening, and the characters don't necessarily act the way that you would expect them to act, and it just, I don't know. It was one of my favorite watches of this year.
Cool. Okay,
yeah.
I need to see it, and now that I know that it's a fucking NFT that I can just find on the internet, sick. Also, Kiyoshi Kurosawa, bitch, why are you selling your movies as NFTs, brother? Why?
Yeah.
Why, Sway? Aha, I did find it. No, I didn't. Nope, I've never looked for anything illegal on the internet in my life. Cool.
Definitely not us.
Not me, not us. No way.
Here's the thing. If you go out and rent this movie, it's not as if you are supporting him.
No.
Or the company that produced it. You are supporting someone that bought one of the copies. That's who all you're supporting.
Yep, exactly. And so it's like, yeah, exactly.
But that's Chime. There are ways to watch it.
There are ways
that don't
to
involve
watch it.
Speaking and or reading Japanese. All right.
That's good. Love that. All
right, let's talk about your new queen, Lily Rose Depp. I am so fucking excited for this movie.
So I had the privilege of seeing an early screening of Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, which I know many people's most anticipated of the year, and I will say I quite enjoyed it. I do not know if I am on the end. I am part of the like, it is one of the best movies of the year camp, but I very much loved it. It's and I think just to like set expectations with this movie, it is not really doing anything new except for one thing that I really loved. It is basically Nosferatu and like Coppola's Dracula kind of mashed together into like a vampire movie, which is not a bad thing. I just, Eggers is really like I think he's just like making pretty art here with like familiar stories, and I am not saying that's a bad thing whatsoever. I think that's just like, don't expect like the Lighthouse level of like weirdness, but what he does beautifully here is how everything looks. I mean, we've seen in his movies like The Witch and The Lighthouse and then like The Northman. He loves period pieces, so he really knows how to make a period piece, and this movie is no exception. The best part of this movie is Lily Rose Depp. She's the lead. She plays. Oh, was it Ellen? Oh, my ass completely forgot her name. Hold on. Sorry. Ellen, yeah. So she plays Ellen, and she is essentially haunted by something that is Nosferatu, and her performance is just absolutely incredible. It is the best part of the movie, and I really wish that it had just focused entirely on her and not Nicholas Holt's character and his journey. Because again, if you know the Dracula Nosferatu story, they're married, he goes off to go sell a castle to Count Orlok, and bad shit happens to him while he's gone. And they obviously follow him doing that. But like, it was just kind of, her character and her arc is much more interesting to me. Regardless, it's very good.
I was obsessed with Nosferatu as a kid.
Really?
Which is surprising considering that it was a silent film and, but I was obsessed with it. And one of my favorite vampire movies is Shadow of the Vampire. Yeah. From early aughts. Which, by the way, is impossible to find right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's not streaming. It's not available to buy. I had a copy of the DVD from when it first came out. I've lost it in the last 25 years, 24 years, I think. I really want to rewatch it because, again, we have the Willem Dafoe-ness of it all, right? Because he is Count Orlok in, the actor that plays Count Orlok in Shadow the Vampire, and then he's also in
Shrek.
Yeah, he's also in Nosferatu. I'm very excited to see it. I'm very curious. I don't know what Count Orlok even looks like. I have not even seen.
No, they haven't revealed. They haven't revealed anything really.
And I'm happy that I'm going in blind with that. I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, it's really good. I think it's too long, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think a lot of movies are a little too long right now, personally.
I will say the thing that I really, really loved about it, and I don't think that this is spoilery because we all know that Orlok is after her, and like his whole thing is like getting to her. We all know that that's the story of Dracula, and Nosferatu is Dracula ripoff for anyone who doesn't know that.
Yeah,
by the way,
absolutely.
Like it is just like patently a fucking ripoff to the point that there were lawsuits about it. But
yep.
So often in these movies, particularly Dracula narratives, this attraction between Orlok / Dracula is meant to be seen as erotic, as like romantic, as wow, like I will do anything for you, and I am so attracted to you that I will do anything to get you. And like I definitely see that in particularly the 1992 Bram Stoker's Dracula. Like it's very much playing into the eroticism of it all. What I love about this movie is that from my perspective, it is not eroticizing the relationship, but rather portraying it as an abusive one. And portraying what Ellen is going through as abuse and stalking from an ex-boyfriend. Was my perception of it, which makes this movie much more harrowing to me. Because, like, Nosferatu is supposed to be scarier, like, and a scarier, like, Orlok is supposed to be a scarier vampire. He's not meant to be kind of he's not meant to look as human. It's meant to be pretty obvious that he is a bad guy. And what he unleashes upon Ellen's town in the original, like a plague infects the town. He kills people because she won't be with him. And I think that this Eggers really plays that up and relies more on looking at female agency and bodily autonomy in a way that I find actually quite surprising. And like, obviously I know that my perspective on this is colored by quite a few things, but I think it's really interesting to see a director lean into that rather than trying to eroticize it. And I really respect that. And I think it was hard to watch for me because of that, but like in a way that I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
I don't know. There was just something about the way that he portrays the relationship between the two of them as something that is like, I won't spoil it. Again, like I won't spoil it, but yeah, I don't know. It's really, I think, it's something I just haven't seen in movies like this. And like that kind of more texturally making this like a sexual assault abuse narrative.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So that's why all my reviews are like, this made me viscerally upset. As, you know, again, it's a vampire movie. We know what to look for from it, but I think that, you know, Eggers makes it unique in some very important ways, and I respect the shit out of that. I also really love the way he does female characters. I mean, we probably both can argue until we're blue in the face about that, but I do like how he does handle, like, especially Thomas in The Witch. I like some of the female characters in The Northman, so it's cool to see how he handles like women in time periods where women were completely disregarded. Good job, man. Yeah.
He's a good guy, I think. He's
definitely... seems right. He made a whole movie about guys farting and wanting to fuck each other. Like, come on, of course he's a good guy. Yes, that is the entire premise of The Lighthouse.
It is, absolutely. That is it to a T. I have an idea in my head about those 3 films being different aspects of toxic masculinity. But
honestly, Nosferatu kind of joins in there too, and I think in a really interesting way. But again, I won't spoil anything because you haven't seen it. Hopefully you will soon, though. So let's finish up with the most existential dread game ever. We're really on like an existential dread kick these last couple of days. I like it.
So this is a game that came out of nowhere and surprised the hell out of me. It is a short game. It takes about 3 hours to complete, but it is probably the most harrowing 3 hours I've experienced in a game that doesn't have you do a whole lot. It is in the genre, I would say, of what people sometimes pejoratively say is a walking sim. There's like a couple small puzzles to do, but most of it is basically just exploring this environment, exploring the characters, and having like an existential crisis. This is a game called Mouthwashing.
Not even remotely what I thought you were gonna fucking say the title of this game was. So
what I love about the games, particularly indie games right now, is they're embracing this era of the early, the late 90s, early aughts with like sort of like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 kind of style graphics.
Oh, like the polygonal?
Yeah. I'm sharing with you an image from the game that is like, has been stuck in my head since I played it. This is a game set in a dystopian...
Yeah. Oh my god, that's scary!
Yeah. Yeah. This is set in a dystopian future, way in the future, where you are sort of like an alien. You are a member of a crew that is on a spaceship. That's on a spaceship traveling to deliver cargo. And the very opening of this game, I'm not going to spoil a whole lot about this game, but I will tell you the opening of this game made me so uncomfortable because you are playing this man that I sent you before this happens.
Oh, no.
And he is the captain of the ship, and you are purposefully making the ship crash. And because it's a video game, and because it plays with... Because in video games, what I love about video games is that it gives you the illusion of choice when there is no choice. And so games that play with that aspect of it, whether it's, I'm thinking the Portal games, or the first BioShock, where it's forcing you to do things and you have to do it because it's a game and this is the set path. I find that so fascinating. And so even though I knew that, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I making this spaceship do this? Why am I doing this? And then it cuts to later where you're playing a different member of the crew. And the game does this really interesting thing with non-linear, oh my God, does this really interesting thing with non-linear storytelling where the scenes sort of blend into one another, where at a couple points I thought the game crashed, but it is not crashing. It is this, the screen will get swirly and you will move from certain times, whether it's before the crash to certain times after, towards the end of after the crash, because the spaceship has crashed and no one is coming to save you. You know that, and you find out that what you've been carting is gallons and gallons of mouthwash, and so like your life is meaningless because you are just basically to cart mouthwash and no one is coming for you, and you are the final survivors on this ship, and the ship starts to like change as the story goes on, and weird things start to happen, and it goes back and forth in time and freezes and dissolves, and it just keeps moving. And so it's one of those games you want to sit down and play in one go, because it does not really give you any moments to stop. And the storytelling is so fascinating, and the way it's structured is so fascinating to me that by the end of it, I was like, I feel uncomfortable playing this game when nothing really happens. Like, the biggest puzzle is how to make a cake, because it is a birthday and there is a corporate mandated cake that must be made. And so you go about picking up supplies and making a cake. That is the hardest, the biggest thing you do in this game. And yet it is absolutely harrowing and absolutely left me with uncomfortable feelings when it was over that have lingered for 2 weeks now.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's gnarly. It's a gnarly game.
Fuck.
I think unfortunately it's only on Steam, I want to say, or only on
it's
PC.
It's only on PC, yeah.
What a fucked up game. Done with very low poly graphics and done so well.
Well then. Okay. Neat. Wow, what a fun way to end. Woo!
Yeah. But speaking of ending, so we are going to end the year and end our 30 Rock journey. We didn't do it today, and we're changing things around because I'm like, all right, we're going to end the year and we're going to do a new thing in the coming year. But how we're going to end it is we're going to end it with season 16, episode 14. Wow, season 6. Oh my God, what is going on with my brain? We're going to end it with season 6, episode 14, Kidnapped by Danger. And we're going to go out with another Queen of Jordan episode. Episode 20, Queen of Jordan 2, The Mystery of the Phantom Pooper.
Neat. Cannot wait. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's what we're going to do for the final little cut of the year next week. But Mary Beth, who are we chatting with on Monday?
So we have a really cool guest on Monday. We're chatting with Toby Jones. He's written for shows like Regular Show and OKKO, both on Cartoon Network, animated shows. Very good. Check them out. But he has recently directed a film called AJ Goes to the Dog Park, which has been doing the festival circuit, and it's bonkers, baby. He brought with him season 1, episode 2 of Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. It's the view in the subway, the kid in the closet, justice is served in the tractor, but more specifically talking about kid in the closet. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's cool to talk to an animator. So yeah,
he was a delight. He was a great guest. His pick was great because I don't think I'd ever really watched Beyond Belief. But what a wild premise for a show. And I can totally see why Kid in the Closet terrified him. This episode is out on YouTube. I'm pretty sure because I think that's how I watched it. I can't honestly remember at this point.
It is.
But it's worth a watch if you've never seen the show before, because boy is it weird. It is a weird show.
All right, listeners, you've heard from us. We want to hear from you. Did you watch or play anything that we talked about this week and have thoughts? Are there things you want us to talk about in the coming weeks? Let us know by sending us an email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com, or you can get in touch with us on social media. I am on Twitter and... Hold on. Shit, what's my fucking Blue Sky handle again? Yeah, there we go. Twitter and Blue Sky is the same one. At MB McAndrews, and then I'm on Instagram at MB.McAndrews.
And I'm at Gaily Dreadful everywhere, specifically on Blue Sky.
Follow the podcast on Twitter. We don't really update that much anymore. And Blue Sky at Scarred Podcast, and then on Instagram at Scarred for Life Podcast.
And please don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe. Patreon is on a pause right now as we kind of come up with ideas in the new year. But stay tuned on that.
Thank you to Eric Power for our artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for our music. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please stay safe out there. But most importantly, stay creepy.
And until next time.